Hello, welcome to the Faith Library Podcast. This is Aaron, and earlier we had Jim, and now we have Andrew Rappaport. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Finally.
Yes.
For so long.
Yes.
We've been online friends.
You poor thing.
Now we're physical friends.
Yeah, well, I hear it only takes about 3 months to get over the nightmares of seeing my face. So, but they go away. It's
No, we're very blessed with the conference and everything that's happening, your ministry for a long time. We've been watching you on Facebook, your live stream with Justin Peters and everything. So it's really a blessing to see you here physically and sharing the Word of God to us.
Well, I was here 5 years ago. That was BC, before COVID.
Yeah.
And but it is just, I'm thrilled to be able to come back.
Yeah.
I really enjoy being in the Philippines.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the heat.
I don't mind the heat.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I'm happy for you.
Yeah, I think this is cool weather, so that's good.
This is cool weather.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So now, speaking about conversations, since you've been
And you notice I'm the only one wearing a suit jacket in the entire building.
I know, right? I just got from fever because of the heat. Man, you're a tough one. I want to ask this question since you've had a lot of debates and discussions with a lot of people from different places. And how do you converse with people whom you disagree with based on your program? Now, it could be like the similar thing that you're with superior theologian Keith Foskey. He's superior, right?
Well, no, it's the Presbyterians he claims that are superior, but that's kind of mockery.
Yeah. But you had like pictures and conversations with Leighton Flowers. Mm-hmm. Like I think you watched during the debate with James White. I think that's the part one. So like in those cases, or maybe in your podcast, how to converse with them?
Yeah, I mean, and there's a couple differences. If I have a Leighton Flowers, I've had Leighton Flowers on previous programs that I've done. Leighton's a very nice guy. I have a debate coming up with Michael Brown on the continuation of gifts versus the cessation of gifts. Michael's a very nice guy. I'm going to handle that very differently than, say, when I had a rabbi call into our Apologetics live show and he is looking to debate. He's not looking to have a cordial discussion. Well, people, after that episode, the next week I had to explain to people why I had a different demeanor, because people know me for being very polite, I'm respectful. I want to let people say what they're going to say. I want people to be able to voice their opinions, so then I won't be accused of misrepresenting them or things like that.
Yeah.
But I think part of being all things to all people also is the fact that you have to understand culture and you have to understand the individuals. So, for example, if I'm dealing with someone like a Jewish rabbi who is looking to debate where he's not looking to ask real questions, legitimate questions, because we'd answer them and he'd ignore the answers and just, no, this is the way it is. So he wants to tell us what to believe. Yeah. I'm going to be a lot stronger with someone like that, because they're coming on hard. They're only going to respect someone that is, hitting them head to head. Yeah. And so there are certain cultures that we take. So Nabil Quresh used to have a different debate style when he debated someone that was from a Muslim world versus a Western world. Because in the Muslim world, if you don't show emotion, then they think you don't really believe what you're saying. Right? So he had to take that into account. So there are things like that we take into account, but it's also the individual. Right? So here in the Philippines, as you know, I had the debate with R.A. Fuentes. Well, R.A. Fuentes I had a very different style with, right? I was very cordial throughout the debate. Unlike him, I was willing to call him Mr. Fuentes, or I respected him. But at the end, when it was exposed that yes, he didn't know his topic, he's someone who's trying to make a name for himself by debating people. But he's not honest in his debates, and that's what that debate exposed. He also, it seemed, isn't a faithful church member, right? And so that's a major issue. And I discovered that after I agreed to do a debate. So I addressed that after the debate was over, to say, like, first off, you shouldn't be debating because you're debating topics you don't understand. Second, you shouldn't be debating if you're under church discipline. Yeah. Like, you shouldn't be in that. So at the end, I took a much harder line with that. And so if you have something like that, you have to. But I personally believe we have to give people a chance to voice their opinions, express what their views are. So we're not guilty of misrepresenting and assigning them a view. I mean, just like I don't like it when someone's ignoring what I say and just telling me what I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, my view is if anybody tells me what I believe, if you're telling me what I believe, I think there's, between the two of us, there's someone that knows my beliefs better than me, and I think it's me, right? But when someone tells me, no, I'm wrong about what I believe or what my motives are, things, at that point, I'm dealing with someone who's unreasonable. And so that becomes the change of it. So I don't want to be that person to someone else either. So I'm going to really work to be respectful.
You're right. So speaking about, I think you tackled about most challenging parts in the podcast, like those types of personalities. I just want to go to the next question. How to have fellowship with people you disagree with?
Yeah.
It's like how to keep up the friendship.
Yeah, and remember, in my Apologetics Live, you're talking about my Apologetics Live show. And with that show, it is a little different because as a podcaster, I recognize that it's my show. Next week, I could do another show.
Yeah.
Right? And I can, and I've done this. You know, I'll respond to what we discussed in the previous time. And so I have that advantage being my show.
Yeah.
But, you know, with Apologetics Live, it's a live show. It's a live stream where anyone can come in.
Yeah.
So I have people who prepare for a debate when I'm not prepared for it, and that becomes, well, I think it's fun, and sometimes the audience does, right? Because you never know what to expect. Someone comes in and they got notes and they have a plan.
Yeah.
And I didn't know I'm debating this topic. You know, Black Hebrew Israelite comes in and wants to say that he's an Israelite, and I'm going, okay, I don't even know where you're going. So I'm giving him time to explain his view. That happens, but it's part of being respectful. But the issue is that you have to make a distinction between who's saved and unsaved, right? That becomes a bigger issue than dealing with, like if I'm dealing with a brother who I just disagree with, I can be I'm friends with Matt Slick from Carm.org.
Yeah.
He and I have debated each other more than anyone else. We have a lot of disagreements, but we're respectful to one another. And someone asked, like, how do we do it? Well, you know, Matt said, someone asked how we're so respectful to one another while disagreeing. And Matt had said, it's because both of us know we're wrong in our theology, we just don't know where. If we knew where, we'd correct that. And that's the issue, is that it's something where we have to recognize that when we stand before the feet of Christ, we're going to be corrected.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect in my theology. I just don't know where I'd be wrong. And when I sit before the feet of Christ, it'll be corrected.
I know time flies so fast, and you have a conference tomorrow, still need to rest.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of chat tomorrow going to happen, but thank you so much, Andrew,
Yeah.
for spending a couple of minutes for talking in the chat. But I have last two questions.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. The first one is, what's your favorite Filipino food so far?
Well, see, I very much enjoy trying local delicacies. So I will have to admit that so far my favorite was balut.
Okay.
Now, you can ask Justin whether he would ever eat balut. I don't think so.
I'll try to convince him.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. No, I actually enjoyed it. It was very sweet.
All right. So last question is, can you promote any books or podcasts for our audience? And a last word for the people who want to share the gospel.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, if you're interested, we already mentioned Apologetics Live. It's a podcast, but it's also a live stream here in the Philippines. It would be 8 in the morning on Friday mornings. It's 8 to 10 Eastern time. That's New York City time. But for you guys, it'd be 8 to 10 in the morning, Friday morning. Anyone can join. You just go to apologeticslive.com, ask any questions. Anything about God and the Bible, I can answer. And if you doubt that, you come on in, you ask me a really hard question, I go, I don't know, because I think that's a perfectly good answer. But I also have a podcast I do weekly called The Rapp Report. It's Andrew Rappaport's Rapp Report, so just search for Rapp with 2 P's. We do biblical interpretations, applications for the Christian life. So we just did a series on what is a pastor. I feel it's a very important series because they ended it by giving ways you can encourage your pastor. And people in the church need to go through the whole series to see what a pastor's life is like, how busy they are, how much is put upon the pastor, and then to realize that the need for encouragement. And I guess Jackson brought up the books so that we can promote them. So, you know, my first book was What Do They Believe? And this is a book on basically the major Western religions. So it's going to deal with Judaism, which is my background, Roman Catholicism, Islam, Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Christianity, and it's going to look at from their sources, not try to debunk them, but tell you what they actually believe so you're not misrepresenting them. So it's going to give you a view of what's their authority, what's their view of God, their view of Jesus Christ, their view of man's sinfulness, salvation, and end times. So, and then the thing is, I never knew that this book would be used evangelistically, so I included an epilogue in the second edition which goes into explaining the uniqueness of Christianity, why that's different from all the others. My next book was What Do We Believe? And this book is a Christian systematic theology. Not too intimidating, only 200 pages, easy to read. But what makes this, I think, unique among other Christian systematic theologies is I don't know people that write about textual criticism, which is the biggest argument we get against Christianity, at a lay level. And so that's what I had tried to do in chapter 2, is to give a lay understanding of can you trust the Bible, because that's the biggest challenge that we get. And so those are some resources. You can always go to strivingforeternity.org and find out everything that we're doing at the ministry. Aaron, I appreciate you having me. We've been talking back and forth for a while, so I'm glad that we were able to work this out.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.